So recently I joined a study with MIT for COVID surveillance using wearable devices. And two of those devices that I'm currently using is the Empatica E4 wearable watch and the VitalConnect VitalPatch. Here's one that's been dismantled. The purpose of this study is basically to see if, by using biomonitors, you can determine which people have been infected by COVID based on things like heart rate, respiration rate, body temperature, etc., without the use of regular nasal PCR tests. Now at MIT, we each get the nasal PCR tests twice a week, so this is to determine whether this is a feasible method, not actually for surveillance. And the data from this study could potentially be used in the future to write apps or other types of software to analyze data from fitness monitor wearables, which also determine heart rate. Some also do blood oxygen and respiration rate and heart rate variability, and to determine whether wearables can be used for COVID monitoring. So the patch is, I'll show you, I'm wearing one right now. This is basically a biomonitoring patch that it sticks on by adhesive. Here it's battery powered. They're one-time use devices. Each lasts 168 hours, and then it permanently bricks itself. Here's the last one that I was wearing. I've dismantled it. They're disposable devices. You wear it for 168 hours, then it's basically designed to be thrown away. Each patch arrives in a sealed bag, and when you open the bag, it exposes a set of 3 zinc air batteries to oxygen, which then starts generating power, and then you can power up the patch. The batteries, there are 3, just installed one of them, they're 3 LR44 or equivalent zinc air batteries. Then once you remove the patch from the packet, you remove 2 backing plates, 2 backing films, which exposes a pair of silver chloride electrodes. And then you hit the on button, and it blinks an LED, and then you stick it on your chest. Basically, it's pretty easy to align. You just hold it in one hand and stick it on your chest, basically 2 finger lengths beneath the top of the sternum, and then it just sticks on and monitors. So the patch monitors heart rate with an ECG monitor. It also monitors respiration rate, posture, does fall detection, monitors steps, body temperature. On the patch, it has basically 2 sides to the patch. One just carries the set of 3 batteries, and the other has the circuitry on it. The circuitry is contained on a multi-layer circuit board, which is actually pretty thick. It's 2 millimeters thick, so it's very, very thick for such a small device, probably because they needed the multiple layers for running routing between the various chips. On the top of the device, it has 3 main chips. One is an ISSI IS25WP128 flash memory. So this is a 128 megabit, 133 megahertz serial peripheral interface memory. So the patch, it streams data to a tablet which you have for monitoring. So if you can see on the tablet screen, it monitors pulse rate, respiration, body temperature, steps, posture, fall detection, and then you can manually enter oxygen saturation, blood pressure, weight, etc. And it does a live ECG recording. When you're not in range of the tablet, it's storing all that information on the flash memory chip. It can store up to 10 hours of recording. It then has a microprocessor, at least one microprocessor. It has a Qualcomm CSR 1012 microprocessor, and that has an integrated Bluetooth radio, and that's what's communicating the data to the tablet. And then it has a third chip, which I've been unable to identify. It has the marking, it doesn't have a brand on it, there's the marking V1000-80 on it, which is not very descriptive, but it's either some manner of biopotential amplifier for the ECG or a secondary microcontroller. Since this does steps, it also somewhere has a 3-axis accelerometer, and it's potentially using that for respiration rate, but it might also have a strain gauge on it. For body temperature, it has looks like it has a thermistor next to the batteries, and then it just has the power switch. So the monitor itself also has, so the monitor sticks to your body via a hydrocolloid adhesive, which surrounds the two electrodes. There's also an adhesive overlay, which goes on the patch to hold it on more effectively if need be. You can wear it with or without the adhesive overlay. I found the adhesive overlay kind of irritates your skin a little bit after you wear patches for 7 days each. The first patch I wore with the adhesive overlay, and there's some little skin irritation under that extra overlay. This current patch I'm now wearing without the adhesive overlay. It's just stuck on with the hydrocolloid adhesive. It's fairly comfortable. The edges of the patches have not tried to lift off or anything. So the patch itself is recording the ECG trace in real time. It's actually a very nice, clean signal. If you can see from the scale, it has a full range scale around plus or minus 3 millivolts. And the ECG recording trace is plus or minus 1 millivolt full scale amplitude. So it does have some pickup from the bipotential amplifier, does have some pickup from your muscles, but generally it's a very nice, clean ECG trace. You can clearly see the QRS complex and the T wave. You can also sort of see the P wave, but it's very low in amplitude. However, it's a very clean trace. The other monitor that you're equipped with, and this is a removable wristband. You only have to wear it when you're asleep. This has the optical pulse sensor, just like any commercially manufactured fitness monitor. It also has an infrared microbolometer, a 3-axis accelerometer, and a pair of electrodermal activity sensors. Basically measures, to some extent, skin conductivity. So that streams data to a cell phone. This is on my cell phone right now. They give you a cell phone for the study that you connect the Empatica E4 to at night, which streams onto for their data collection. For this, just as an example, I'm streaming it onto my cell phone. You can download an app for Android. So as you can see, it's a 3-axis accelerometer, and that measures either dynamic or static acceleration, so it can measure orientation. It also measures body temperature with that infrared microbolometer, and in real time, basically, you can see skin conductivity and the raw data from the pulse monitoring. So that it'll do pulse, and I believe to some extent heart rate variability. So those are the two sensors. And other than that, basically, as I mentioned, at MIT, they're doing the surveillance testing via the nasal swab PCR twice a week. So the sensors aren't actually for COVID surveillance. They're to determine if it can be used for COVID surveillance based on whether you actually do get a positive test. I, for one, aim to remain in the control group and not in the experimental group, obviously. So those are 2 biomonitors that I can see some data on, and I'll hopefully in the future work on analyzing some of the data from those patches and the wrist monitor.